evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Lusaka Avocado Multipurpose Cooperative Training. Today, we're going to talk about insurance. We've had quite a few people who have asked about insurance, and today fortunately, we have got Mr. Richard Simonga giving us a talk. Now, Mr. Simonga is calling us from, or is presenting from a broker firm. We will also have two insurance companies giving us presentations later on, next month and this month later on. So you'll be able to make a decision whether you're going to go with a broker or whether you're going to go with the two other firms that we've come up with. Now, as we all know, insurance is important. So I will pass on to Mr. Simonga, and as usual, please ask your questions in the chat. And if you ask your questions at the end, that will be very helpful. And then I will read out all your questions. So Mr. Simonga, welcome to the LAMCS group, and the technical committee welcomed you to give us our talk. Over to you, Mr. Simonga.
Thank you, ma'am. We are grateful to Lusaka Avocado Multipurpose Cooperative for according us this opportunity to do a presentation. Let me introduce our firm. MINET is a broking firm. And for soccer lovers, I'm sure you knew MINET as AON, AON. They were official sponsors for Manchester United. I'm sure you've seen it before on Manchester United jersey. Ma'am, we can go to the next page. So MINET, as I alluded to, we are a global leading insurance broking firm. We are into risk management. We are also into insurance placements. We are also into reinsurance brokerage. We also do human resource consulting and outsourcing. We also do pension management. And our core values is to maintain client focus and to create the long-term value for our clients. We are also able to work with partners in terms of insurance companies in order for us to service our clients better. Then MINET is also a largest AON Global Correspondent Partner in Africa. Since MINET is in about 10 countries, so for AON to operate in these 10 countries, we are actually AON Global Correspondent in these 10 countries. Ma'am, we can go to next page. So MINET in Africa, we are in about 10 countries. We operate in Lesotho. We also operate in Namibia, Botswana. We also operate in Mozambique, Zambia, Tanzania. We operate in Malawi. We operate in Uganda and Angola. These are the countries where we operate from. And in Zambia, MINET has been operating from 1952. We were previously called JMINET, which was established in 1952. And MINET was actually nationalized in 1976. But we were still operating as ZNIB, or Zambia National Insurance Brokers, until 1989. Then eventually AON decided to buy ZNIB, and in 2017, AON decided to sell off their shareholding in Africa, and they sold off their shareholding to Capital Works. So we are now AON Global Correspondent from 2017, and we have new shareholders, Capital Works. Next page, ma'am. Next page. So why should you use MINET as the cooperative? You actually benefit more by engaging a broker, because as a broking firm, we are able to assess your risk, and we are also able to negotiate for wider coverage with insurance companies. So we engage insurance companies and negotiate for wider coverage for our customers. We are also able to send renewal reminders in good time for our customers. And as a broking firm, we are also able to look at the policy documents which the insurance companies are giving you, analyze them, and see that you are adequately covered. Then we are also able to monitor financial position of these insurance companies. Normally, as the insuring public, you always want to approach these insurance companies because you feel you know them or you understand them, but you may not know their financial capacity. Are they able to pay claims? What is their reinsurance arrangement? Do they have adequate capital to pay claims which may arise? But as your brokers will be able to, we are able to analyze the financial position of these insurance companies, and we are only going to take you to insurance companies who have the capacity to pay claims in the event of any losses. I'll give you a practical example. In Zambia, we have 21 general insurance companies, and out of these 21 general insurance companies, as MINET, we don't deal with every Jim and Jack. We only deal with insurance companies who have the capacity to pay claims. And these are insurance companies who have been approved by our UK office. So we've got an office in UK who will look at the financials of these insurance companies. And for us to deal with these insurance companies, we analyze their financial standing. We also analyze their reinsurance arrangement. We are also able to analyze their qualifications in terms of those who are managing these insurance companies. I'm sure you are all aware that in Zambia, insurance companies, for you to open an insurance company, you only need about 10 million kwacha for you to open a general insurance company. So as the insuring public, you need to understand how these insurance companies operate, and you also need to understand if they have got financial capacity to pay your claims in the event of any losses. So what is it that we are also able to do? We are able to handle your claims. If you go to insure directly with an insurance company, it simply means that you are on your own. Should there be any losses, there will be no one to negotiate with these insurance companies for you. It's the same as you going to the courts of law without a lawyer who is going to represent you. So should an insurance company feel that you may not, you don't understand the insurance policy, they can manipulate and pay you less. But if you've got a broker, you are not paying for the service. Our service is free of charge to our clients. It's insurance companies who pay us, but we represent the interest of the insuring public, and our service is free of charge. Next. These are some of our clients. So as MINET, we handle almost 90% of the banks. As you can see, Standard Chartered Bank, FNB, Barclays, which is now ABSA, Invest Trust, Citibank. These are all MINET clients. The biggest farmer, Zambif, is on our books. If you talk of hydropowers, Itesteji, Lusemfa, these are on our books. If you talk of Airtel, Zamtel, MTN, these are our clients. You talk of the likes of Mopani Mine, KCM, First Quantum, CEC Liquid, CEC or Copper Belt Energy. We also have Balloward Equipment. These are some of our clients where we are managing their insurance. Next page, ma'am. And MINET is being managed by Mr. Humphrey Kabwe, and our chief financial officer is Patrick, and our chief broking officer is Mr. Francis Vanga, is part of this call. And I think you will be able to answer some of the questions which will be raised by the members. Next page, ma'am. So as MINET, we are able to structure policies so that the insuring public can benefit from the policies which will be structured by MINET. So in short, if you go to any insurance company requesting for a crop policy, they will give you off-the-shelf cover, which may not cover all your needs. So as the cooperative, you have a risk of fire, you also have a risk of storm, you also have a risk of flood. Once you've planted your avocados, those avocados can be damaged by wind, they can be damaged by rodents, they can also be damaged by domestic animals. Now, as a farmer, the reason why you are planting those crops, you want to harvest or you want to make money out of that investment. So as a farmer, you want to protect your crop so that in the event of any losses, should there be any fire, should there be any lightning, the insurer should be able to compensate you. So as MINET, what we are proposing to the cooperative is that as MINET, we can give you two types of policies. The first policy is where you can insure immature trees. Those are trees which have no fruits. So we are looking at production cost. How much are you going to spend for you to plant those trees? So we'll be looking at the cost of you buying a plant, the cost of you putting fertilizer, the cost of you spraying the trees from any diseases. That cost can be insured by insurance, meaning you've incurred the cost, and should it be damaged by wind, should it be damaged by domestic animals, should it be damaged by based on production cost. That's the first option you have. The second option you have is where you can insure expected yield. So as a farmer, you are expecting that once you start harvesting, you are going to make maybe $1,000 per ton. So should there be damage to the crop, you are losing out that 1,000 per ton. So as MINET, we are proposing that we can give you another cover, which will be covering those trees which are already giving you fruits, and those trees which are giving you fruit can be insured at expected yield. How much are you going to make once you sell your crop to either your customers, or once you export, how much were you expecting as a farmer? So you have that option of either insuring based on production costs, or or insuring based on expected yield. How much are you going to harvest and make from the same crop? So for us to give you a quotation which would be complete, we just need total hectareage of the plants that you've planted, the number of plants. Then we also need cost of production. How much did you spend for you to plant and grow the plant before they start giving you that fruit? So for us to give you that production cost quotation, we will need that information. Then for us to give you a quotation for expected yield, we will also need total hectareage. We also need the number of plants and in anticipated price per ton. How much are you going to sell once the crop is fully grown? And normally lettings for this type of insurance ranges from 3.5% to about 4.5%. And depending on the numbers, this rating can have a discount. So meaning this is not cast in stone. We are able to negotiate with insurance companies based on the numbers. And these are some of the warranties, but as your brokers will be able to negotiate with insurance companies if you feel these warranties are not in line with your business or your farms. So insurance companies expect you to have a fire break, which is normally 10 meters away from the fields. Then they also expect you to have a water bowser. So some of these warranties we can negotiate with insurance companies. We don't expect avocado farmers to have a water bowser, so we are able to negotiate with insurance companies to remove certain things because we are not expecting you to have a tractor and mounting it with a water bowser. But the other warranty, like you should not be cooking near the trees that have been planted. I think this one you can manage. Then the other warranty is that you should have 24 hours security patrols. This one is also something which we can negotiate with the insurance companies because we feel not all the farmers may have 24 hours security. So we are able to negotiate with an insurance company to consider removing some of these warranties. If you've seen that there's fire, are you able to act fast and try to contain the fire? That's a warranty. You can't say because I have insurance, so I will let my crops, my plants be damaged by the same inferno. So you need to act as though you are not insured. The other warranty is that in the event of any loss, you need to notify. If you will be insuring through MINET, you need to send your notification via MINET within 24 hours. Failure to send your notification or intimate your claim within 24 hours may jeopardize your claim process. So you need to consider notifying your claims within 24 hours. The other warranty is that your field should be fenced, but this is another warranty which we can negotiate with the insurer because we are not expecting all the farmers on this platform to have fenced their farms. Negotiate with the insurance company. The other warranty is that you must be able to demonstrate that you've done all the management controls that are needed. So meaning all the general controls. How do you manage your avocado tree? Have you done all the required processes for you to all the required good management processes? Those should be demonstrated that you've done them. So we are expecting all the farmers to have a book where they will be recording whatever they have done. and that will be considered to be a warrant under this policy. Next page. Some of the exclusions under the policy: theft is not covered, loss to property occasioned by fermentation or natural heating or spontaneous. So if there's any heating which is coming from underground, should it damage your crop, that will not be covered under this policy.
Hello, Mr. Simonga.
Any
You've suddenly cut
consequential
off.
loss will not be covered. So any loss which is not will not be covered. Trees by local government, if government would your crops, that will not be covered. Apart
Mr. Simonga, your connection is going in and out.
from that, the of the crop, which is oh, apologies, ma'am. Are you getting me now?
I am, but you seem to be going in and out. I don't know whether you have moved. Earlier on, you were very clear. Are you able to repeat your last point, please?
Oh, okay, okay. No, apologies for that. Sorry, ma'am. Are you getting me now?
Yes, now we can get you. Thank you. Could you repeat your last point, please?
Okay. So I was saying, if government will cut your trees because of either an outbreak, let's say there's a disease which government is trying to contain, should they come and ban your trees, that will not be covered under this policy. Then any other losses, um, while you harvest your crop, should you move it from point A to point B? Let's say you are moving it from the farm to the market. Should it be damaged in transit or should it be stolen in transit? That is not covered under this policy, but we are able to arrange transit cover for you. So meaning if you want transit cover to move your crop either from Zambia, if you're exporting, we are able to arrange that type of cover for you. The other exclusion is that any damage as a result of volcanic eruption, though this has been extended, we managed to get this cover. We've actually gotten this cover for you. And should there be any, if Uganda or any neighboring country, let's say Congo, decide to fight with Zambia, they damage your crop, that will not be covered under this policy. Drought is not also covered under this policy. The other exclusion is frost. If there's any frost which will damage your crop, it will not be covered under this policy. Then if there's any crop which you are growing for the purpose of experimenting, if you are just experimenting how that avocado will grow, that experimenting crop will not be covered under this policy. The other exclusion is disease. Disease is not covered under your this policy. If there's any disease outbreak which may affect your crop, insurance will not cover such. Then the other exclusion is any chemicals that are being oversprayed by either your neighboring farms. If they are spraying, let's say they are spraying maize, should there be any damage to your crop from your neighbors' farms, that will not be covered under this policy. Next page, ma'am. As a farmer, we know you have a house, and what we've observed with most of the farmers in Zambia, they can have insurance for the crop, but they don't have insurance for their houses. And as MINET, we are proposing that the farmer should also consider insuring their farmhouse, just in the event of any fire, lightning, or explosion. should there be any accidental damage to the house, or should there be any tree falling on your house, this insurance will be able to cover your house. And if you check the rating on this policy, it's only 0.115%. So if you have any house which is valued at, say you have a house valued at less than 1 million, your premium for 12 months will be less than 1,000 kwacha if you look at the rate which is applicable. So this domestic package insurance is not expensive, but if you look at the scope of cover, it's wider in cover. Your house will be covered in the event of any loss. Let me be quick to mention that this domestic package insurance will also cover alternative accommodation. So meaning if your house is damaged, you finding alternative accommodation either for your workers, this insurance will cover you up to 10% of the sum insured. Next page. The other policy that can be arranged is your householder's insurance, where you can insure household contents. So at a farm, you may have contents, those contents can be insured. So the policy will cover fire, lightning. The policy will also cover theft. So if those items in the farmhouse are stolen, insurance will cover such. The policy can also extend to cover your portable items like your phones. You have expensive phones, you have expensive laptops as farmers. Those can be insured under this policy. And we have some extensions under this policy, meaning if your workers are injured and they are suing you for those injuries because we are negligent as the owner of the farm, this policy will cover your employer's liability. It will also cover your public liability. Imagine a situation where your visitors to the farm are injured or they are killed within your farm premises. This insurance will also cover such. So for rating under this policy, it's only 0.85% for general contents and 1.5% for all risk items. So all those portable items will only be covered at a rate of 1.5%. But this is not cast in stone. Depending on the numbers, we are able to negotiate and reduce these rates. Next page, ma'am. Then as farmers, I'm sure you have vehicles. Normally, when you go to these insurance companies to buy comprehensive insurance, you will be buying comprehensive insurance which only covers your vehicle. But if you check that comprehensive insurance policy you've bought, if you check the limit of liability, it may have only a standard of 30,000, meaning should you injure someone or kill someone or damage someone's property, your insurance company will only pay you they will only pay you 30,000 kwacha. Meaning, imagine a situation where you hammer into a most expensive vehicle. Let's say you damage a Mercedes Benz. Repairing a Mercedes Benz is costing 180,000 kwacha. The current insurance you have will only pay 30,000, meaning you need to pay the difference, which is about 150,000. But the comprehensive, which we are giving to our customers as MINET, you will be covered for free up to 200,000. Meaning, should you injure someone, kill someone, or damage someone's property, insurance company will pay 200,000 instead of the 30,000. Should you lose your personal item, let's say you lose your very expensive phone, your laptop, or you lose your bag in that accident, insurance will pay up to 5,000 kwacha per event. Insurance will also pay personal accident up to 5,000. It will also pay medical expenses, meaning you may be injured in that accident. So this insurance will pay up to 5,000 kwacha. Then the policy will also pay replacement of keys. In Lusaka, it's common that if you park your vehicle at any shopping mall, your locking system will be tempered. Most of these policies you are only covered up to 500 kwacha for replacement of keys. But this insurance will indemnify you limited to replacement of those keys and the locking system. The policy will also allow you, instead of you waiting for a repair order from an insurance company, this policy will allow you to take your vehicle to a repairer of your choice, provided your loss is less than 5,000 kwacha. So all we need is for you to avail your vehicle for inspection. Once your vehicle has been inspected, there will be no need for you to wait for a repair order. You proceed to take your vehicle to a repairer of your choice, and the insurer will raise a repair order direct to a repairer of your choice. That's if a loss is less than 5,000. Then for windscreen damage, most of the policies you pay excess for any windscreen damage. As a farmer, we are expecting you to have windscreen damages because you are normally in the farms and you may have a flying stone hammering your windscreen. So for such, this policy will not require you to pay excess for any windscreen damage. As a farmer, you normally move about looking for markets. Should there be an accident, let's say in Kasumbalesa, this insurance will bear costs for you to move your vehicle from Kasumbalesa to Lusaka. And if you check most of the policies if you check the policy documents, towing charges, you are only covered up to a limit of 500 kwacha for the radius of 15 kilometers. But this insurance will pay you in full. And in most cases, you are not even going to incur any cost because we are going to ensure that the insurer tows your vehicle. But should you spend in towing that vehicle, this insurance will pay you in full, not the 500 kwacha. And if you are involved in an accident, God forbid, there's need for you to call a bush mechanic to fix your car. That cost you are going to incur, this insurance will pay you up to 1,500 kwacha. So for you to move from point A to point B after you are involved in an accident, that emergency repair or emergency cost will be picked up by this insurance. Apart from that, this policy will also allow you to get a courtesy vehicle up to a limit of 750 kwacha per day. So meaning if your vehicle is not mobile, you've given us all the claim documents, you will be allowed to hire a courtesy vehicle up to 30 days. So meaning after 5 days, you've given us all the claim documents, we are going to provide you with a courtesy vehicle for 30 days, which you can use as your vehicle is being fixed and as your claim is being processed. Apart from that, if you want to visit any foreign country as a farmer, you want to visit SADC or COMESA countries, this insurance will extend cover to those foreign countries. As you may be aware, the comprehensive you have, it only covers you within Zambia. And the rating for comprehensive insurance, instead of the standard 6%, you are only being charged 3.5%. And depending on the numbers, we are willing to give you a further discount on that 3.5%. And these are some of the policies which we can offer to the farmers. We can arrange medical insurance for you and your workers. We can also arrange insurance for your family members. We can arrange livestock insurance. If you have any birds, you have any animals, we can insure those birds for you. We can also arrange cover If you want cover for theft by employees, if employees are stealing your animals, they are stealing your properties, we can arrange a fidelity guarantee for you, which will cover theft by employees. Then we are also able to cover, to arrange cover for personal accidents, meaning your workers, you want them covered should they be injured while working for you. We are able to arrange a personal accident policy that will cover their medical expenses. It will also cover funeral expenses should they die while working for you. So these are some of the policies we are able to arrange for you. Next page, ma'am. I think that's it. Are
Yes,
there any questions?
yes, they are. And thank you so much for your presentation. I will go first to Mr. Daka. He's got a question in the chat, but because I can see he's online, I'll let him ask his question. Mr. Daka? Okay. Looks like he might have stepped away. Mr. Daka has asked, what does rating mean in this case? What does and also what does consequential loss mean? Could you explain that, sir, Mr. Richard?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So rating means if you have, let's say you have 1 hectare of avocados, and that 1 hectare of avocados is valued at, say, 50,000 kwacha. So rating means we are applying a rate of either 3.5% on that 50,000. So 3.5% on 50,000, that will be your annual premium. I hope I've answered. Then consequential loss simply means a loss which is not directly related to your insurance. Imagine a situation where you've insured your crop, but there's a fire which damages your crop. So instead of you coming, if you've insured it on production costs, and you come back to us and say, yes, I insured it on production costs based on how much I've spent, but I was expecting to make 1 million kwacha if I sold the plants. That would be considered to be consequential, because that's not the basis of cover which was arranged from inception. The other, sorry, ma'am, the other example I can give is where you can say I've incurred a loss because my crops were stolen. So as you have seen from the scope of cover, theft is not covered. So it's not related to the insured peril. So insurance will not cover such.
Thank you very much.
I hope I've answered.
Yes, you have. And then I've got another question here from Judith. Judith says, please explain the exclusion of theft. Thank you.
Sorry, ma'am.
So Judith is asking for you to explain the exclusion of theft. You've said on your...
There, you were breaking.
Yes. Okay. Are you able to explain the exclusion of theft? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Maybe Mr. Francis is able to help out here. Mr. Francis, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. On the exclusion of theft, what that means is that the crop insurance that is presented in this report does not cover any loss resulting from theft. So when you say exclusion of theft, it simply means that if you suffer a loss as a result of theft, the police will not respond. It falls outside coverage. Perhaps why that question is coming, just going ahead, is perhaps from the people's mind, perhaps you'd want the theft cover also to be included. Maybe that's one thing we can take note and see if that risk can be added back to the coverage. But in terms of explaining the exclusion, it simply means that any losses that are as a result of theft are not covered. Thank you.
Thank you so much. But before you go, Mr. Francis, are you able to view the chat questions, or would you like me to read the ones in the chat from Dr. Chimoga?
You can read them. I'm using the phone. Okay. I'm unable to yeah.
No problem. So Dr. Chimoga is asking, under warranties, you mentioned a 3.5%. What does that mean in terms of total actual amount?
The 3.5 is referring to, is it the rate, the range between 3.5 and 4.5%?
Dr. Chimoga, would you like to unmute and answer the question, ma'am?
I think it says 3 to 5%, 3-5%, if I heard correctly.
Yeah, Doc, what that means that the basis of arriving at the premium which will be required to purchase this insurance is between those rates of 3.5 and 5%. Hello?
Breaking.
Oh.
We are barely getting
you are not breaking up. You're not breaking up, Mr. Francis. It's Mr. Richard who's breaking up. So, Mr. Richard, if we just leave the questions to Mr. Francis, that will be better. Please go ahead, Mr. Francis.
Yeah, so I was saying what you call rating. I know there's a question which Richard answered earlier about what is rating. Maybe just to add to what he said, rating is the basis of arriving at a premium, which is a consideration for purchase of insurance. So coming to the doc's question, there are rates which are given there, 3.5 to 4%. This means that for this particular policy we are looking at, to arrive at the premium, the range of the pricing will be between 3.5 and 4.5%, meaning we've given you a range, but once risk details are veiled, then we can come up with the exact or specific rate for that particular risk. I submit.
Thank you. Dr. Chimoga, do you want to ask the rest of your question, ma'am?
I thought you were reading. I hope I'm audible. The other question that I have is, what does unauthorized expenditure mean? That's one. Then the final one, please clarify what 24-hour patrol means. I thought I understood, like, for you to take up this policy, you are required to have, is it security or patrol within the, when we are talking about crops or maybe any other property? Is that what you imply? That you need to have, I'll just use the simple term, security, in other words.
Yes, indeed, Doc. When we say you require 24 hours patrol, it is under what you call a warrant. A warrant is a condition in insurance which you need to observe, failure to which the police will become null and void. So when we talk about the requirement for 24-hour security, they are saying at your farm or your business premise, you must have security 24 hours, meaning during the day and in the night. And this is why Richard was saying some of these warranties may be onerous to some farmers, depending on the scale. And this is why we'll need to get a bit more risk details as to how farmers are placed in terms of these various warranties and see what works best for the farmers and negotiate maybe to reach a middle line and have a win-win situation.
And
Thank you.
unauthorized expenditure?
Unauthorized
That's to the
expenditure.
policyholder?
Yeah, what it is that whenever you have an insurance claim or loss, any expense that you expect to get recourse from the insurance company, you need to get authorization before you commit. Now, we realize that sometimes there are certain things that are small and urgent that need urgent attention. So what we do is we negotiate for small limits. Say within 5,000, we are saying, okay, you can proceed without getting authority from the insurance to incur that expense and simply give us what you call a paid up invoice for a refund.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much for that. The next question from the group, it says, does the windscreen cover include a tractor windscreen?
Yes, ma'am. So,
yes, it would. Okay, go ahead, Richard.
Oh, sorry, Sibio. Yes, so the windscreen cover for your tractors or any vehicle which is being used at the farm will still be covered, though for
Mr. Richard. Okay, thank you very much for that. Even though you cut off towards
so
the end.
we are not going to cover them under comprehensive because comprehensive will be a bit expensive for the farmer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Oh yes, so we haven't got any more questions on the chat. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to add them in the chat. Or if you're not able to ask questions in the chat, please do send a message via WhatsApp. I've got the WhatsApp open in case you've got questions. And then thank you, Dr. Chimoga, you've asked all your questions. Mr. Daka, have you rejoined us? And did you want him to ask your question again?
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Kalinda. I joined back and I think I got the tail end of the answer. I wanted to get a good understanding of what rating means. So I think he said in this case, like that's the basis on which the premium will be, I guess, arrived at. So maybe I could just do a quick follow-up just so it's clear to me and everybody else listening. If we find, for example, that my crop is worth 100,000 kwacha, that's what I'm trying to cover. Does the idea that the rating is 3.5% mean that you're starting at 3,500 kwacha as the basis for the premium? And is that per year?
You're correct. And it's per year, yes.
Okay, thank you. So that clarifies it for me. I don't have any other questions. Thank you for this very useful information.
Thank you. I've got a question. You mentioned before about injury and personal items being covered. Can you elaborate if that means it's only if my workers' items are covered, those who are living on the property, say there's a fire and all their property is destroyed? And I ask this particularly because there are some items within the workers' quarters that have all been purchased by myself as opposed to by my workers. So I was wondering if you could elaborate on that, Mr. Francis.
Okay, thank you. In terms of household contents, if at all you take up household or domestic insurance, the contents will be covered if there's any loss or damage to the contents whilst in dwelling house of the employees. The cover will operate depending on the period that operates, whether it's storm damage, it's theft, impact, the policy will cover. What is key is to ensure that those things, whether the workers or for the owner of the farm, are insured under the domestic insurance.
I see. I see. So what you're saying about domestic insurance, are you saying that on top of taking out the insurance for the farm, it will include domestic insurance?
Yeah, going by because we've gone through a couple of different covers under the farm insurance. Farm insurance is sort of a package because if a farm will have different facets of risks. You'll have buildings, you'll have crops, you'll have got vehicles, you've got your farm equipment. So each of those equipments may have a specific insurance relevant to it. And as long as you take up those various types of insurance, most of those risks will be able to be covered under insurance, and you'll be able to recover should you suffer loss.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Richard. The other question I was going to ask is, as a cooperative, does that mean that each of our members can have different types of insurance, or as a cooperative, we take one policy that will cover all of us without any variations?
I would say we can approach it two ways. The first one would be having the cooperative having sort of similar type of insurance coverage for all members. This option is better in the sense that because you have scale, you are most likely to have premium rates which are lower because you are looking at the risk as one with as an umbrella sitting a lot of people below it. That is the first option, and there are certain risks that will be common across all members. And those we can say we approach it as a cooperative. I think it would work best. However, there could be another option. There could be those farmers, perhaps who their risk profile may be, for lack of better term, maybe larger than the average cooperative member. Those, apart from what we may fall under the cooperative, we can also arrange other covers that are unique and specific to those farmers, so that they are not prejudiced by the average sort of risk exposure for the rest, but we attend to their specific needs. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. One of the other questions that I have is that you mentioned, Mr. Richard mentioned the breakdown and getting a courtesy car. Now, in terms of this, he also said that it depends on whether all the claim documents have been added. When you say the claim documents, are these documents that you would have put together, or is it documents that we will have to submit to you before it goes to the insurance policy? And then the second part of my question would be, how long in that case does a policy take from claiming to us being paid? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. In terms of the claim documents, these are documents that will have to be submitted by yourselves. What will happen is, if you've got a motor accident, as an example, we will give you a list of documents that you need to submit for your claim to be processed for payment. For example, we'll ask you to give us what you call a claim form, which is a statement of claim. We'll ask you to give us your driver's license, copy of your insurance, the repair estimates for the damage. So once those are submitted, then you now have the access to the courtesy vehicle. as the claim is being processed, then you'll have a courtesy vehicle, depending on how many days the police provides for. Maybe it's 30 days. And the assumption is that within that 30 days, your vehicle will be repaired and back on the road. So that is on the, yes. Then, sorry, you can repeat the last question?
The last question was just how long it takes to process a claim from the beginning till the farmer gets paid.
Yeah, once it's fully documented, usually it takes, depending on how large the claim is, 14 to 30 days. Usually what delays claims is the documentation, because you'll find that somebody will bring one quotation today, the following week, another one. But if everything, holding other things constant and it's fully documented, it's a claim of average size. That should be settled within max of 30 days, unless there are special cases. For example, maybe the vehicle, it has no spare parts within the country. Those will be treated outside, but on average, where everything is in around that turnaround time.
Oh, I see. Thank you so much. And the other question I have is on valuations. He mentioned that you would come out and do an assessment on the farm. So if I say, and you come to my farm and I say, I've bought an avocado plant for 200 kwacha, and you would have heard from somebody else who bought theirs from 80 kwacha, how does that work? Does it go based on your invoices, or would it be based on your assessment as people who are claiming on our behalf as the broker?
Thank you for that question. The assessment that we mentioned is not referring to valuation of the property, but the assessment regarding the risk profile, meaning that when we come on the farm, we'll be able to look at what sort of properties are there, what sort of features are there, security, and so on. Basically looking at what risks you are exposed to as a farm. And then once we assess that, then we'll be able to say and advise that perhaps if for your dam, you need, maybe if it's an earth dam, you need to cover the earth dam in case it's overtopped during the rain. For farm equipment, you need to take motor insurance. That's also sort of assessments that we do. Is an assessment in terms of risk profiling. Whereas what you're asking, the valuation is different. We are not valuers. For any valuation, usually we will refer to, if it's property valuation, would recommend that you see the qualified valuers.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's just that he mentioned that you do the assessment before we do the policy. So I see. Thank you for qualifying that for me. The other question I have is based on, as avocado farmers, he mentioned something about projections. So as avocado farmers, we know that it could take 3 to 5 years before our trees produce. Now, if I have the same policy as somebody who's had their plants which are 1 year old, and say mine I have just planted and there's a claim put through and I've claimed against projections, does that mean that I would still get the same amount whether they were 2 years or 1 year old plants? Thank you.
Well, the amount may not be the same depending on the age of the trees. Richard has mentioned, I think there are 2 bases of insuring the trees. There is one where you are insuring those that are already producing the fruits, which the basis of settlement will be expected yield. Then there are those that are haven't yet reached the stage of producing. The basis there will be the cost of replanting the tree. So that will be the cover. I know both exposures are very important to the farmer. I tried to, just to digress a bit, I tried to plant avocados 3 years ago in one of the Tuma places I have. I had put 50 trees, and my farm worker was, for some reason, I had gone out. The children were looking for rats. It was during dry season. So they bent a bush and the whole 50 plants were bent.
Oh my goodness.
To the ground.
Oh my goodness.
So obviously, I need to reply. I haven't done it because I sort of lost my energy. With this, I'm getting encouraged. But you see, then if I had insurance, then I would claim so that I can, because these trees are not cheap, to replant those trees. I have to go and purchase and replant them, and the cost associated to replanting. That's what will be claimed on the other option.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it depends on the option that we take. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any other questions on the chat there, unless there's something else you wanted. Oh, hang on. There's a question just asking that as the cooperative, we should reconsider theft exclusion to be included, since it's a big drawback if we don't have it in the policy. So thank you for that, Judith. I will take that forward. And we don't have any further questions, but is there anything that you think you, Mr. Richard hadn't covered you'd like to elaborate on? Or Mr. Richard, if you are also available after Mr. Francis speaks, if there's anything you'd like to cover?
Yeah, thanks. I think mine would be just to mention that we know that you are not insurance experts, and at the speed Richard was moving, you could have further questions. Maybe after reviewing the presentation, we want to say you are very welcome to ask further questions, even outside this presentation. We should be able to, and in particular, if depending on how you look at your risk in your avocado farming business, if there are areas that you think have not been addressed in this, we are amenable to look at that, and then we can structure a solution together so that we meet the farmers' need. I think for now, those will be my comments, and to thank you for this opportunity to present.
Thank you. Are you okay for me to share both your contacts with the cooperative on the WhatsApp group, and also to share the slides?
We are okay. We absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, we shall do that. I'll share your slides, and thank you so much for a wonderful presentation, Mr. Richard. Unfortunately, you had cut out a little bit, but thank goodness Mr. Francis was on, so you were a very good tag team. And thank you so much for coming to talk to us. We will, at some later stage, probably have another discussion with you later on in the year, because we've got a wide membership, and at the moment we've got 43 people on the call, and of a cooperative of 300, I'm sure there'll be others who would like to hear about your company. Thank you so much for attending. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.